we're energizing the hands by pulling along the top and bottom, the sides of the finger, and then the jingwell point is either side of the nail bed. And moving on to the pointer finger, sides, top and bottom, jingwell point. So you're kind of putting some pressure in between those 2 points. Sides, top and bottom of the third finger, jingwell point. We're energizing those really powerful energy points. Top and bottom sides of the ring finger, jingwell point. Top and bottom sides and the jingwell point of the pinky. And then we'll quickly do the other hand without talking about it. Sides, top and bottom, and the jingwell point. Sides, top and bottom, jingwell. There are jingwell points on the toes as well. We're not going to do those today. The toes are less accessible during the day, so I like to teach what you can get access to when you're sitting at a desk or something like that. We usually have our shoes on, or during a meeting, you don't want to be bending down and pushing on your toes. All right, so our hands are nice and energized. We're going to start with a gentle face massage. And I'm not going to name too many points, as I said. I'm just going to start from the top. There are points along the center line, which is called the governing vessel. We're going to tap. These points are good for insomnia. And the nice thing about doing this whole center line is you don't have to worry about where the point is exactly. You can look it up in a book and worry about it, or you can just do the whole area and it feels good. And there are actually more than 20 points on the whole head. So just use your fingertips. You can also rake through your hair, but of course I don't want to disturb my coif. So I like to just tap very firmly with my fingertips. So I was talking about this top area, the center line, insomnia, cognition. If you're feeling foggy in the middle of the day, you know, at that 2 o'clock hour, and you feel like having caffeine, you can also just try tapping this area. And vertigo. I have really good luck with this point. I do have vertigo sometimes, especially in the middle of the night. I get up and I'm starting to swoon around, and I just tap that, and within minutes, it's gone. Okay, we're going to go to the forehead and pull with our fingertips and end at the temples. Massage in a circle. We'll do each thing 3 times. Pull from the middle of the forehead to the temples. The forehead has many points behind it. So do the eyebrows. We'll get to the eyebrows in a second. The sinuses are located in this raccoon mask around the eyes. And so that's why massaging the forehead is good. This is all preventative as well as healing. So if you have a sinus condition, this is really good. But also if you know that you have sinus problems, or maybe asthma, and you have congestion in your face, then this can be preventative. This could be a little thing that you do before bed every night. Okay, let's do the eyebrows. Pulling the eyebrows, again to the temples, pulling along the eyebrows. And then the third time, we're going to use our fingers and pinch the eyebrows. Oh my gosh, that is one of those good, bad feelings. Woo, that is so painful. Those of us that use our eyes a lot, you know, on Zoom a lot, it's really good for us to massage around our eyes. Okay, and this next point, it's called drilling bamboo. I love that name. You take your thumbs and push up into the corner between the bone above your eye and your nose. Ooh, one of those good hurts. Don't forget to breathe. Ooh. And 3 times, one more time. I don't have sinus conditions very often, but when I do, you know, when your face hurts, even when you bend down, that one is a really good one to do. and very gently over the lids, very gently. And under the eyes. Really delicate skin there, so you want to be very gentle. And now we're going to put our fingers on our nose and pull over to the ear. Now the ear has 3 points in front of it that are really good for hearing, and we're going to massage up and down those points. They're on various meridians, 3 different meridians. And the center one, I think is, I don't know, small intestine 19 or something like that. And then there's one above it and one below it. So if you have tinnitus, or if you know somebody that has tinnitus, this kind of massage can be good every night, every morning. If you have congestion in your ears during a cold, for sore throat. So all this stuff that's happening around near the ears, sore throat, and congestion in the face can all be helped by these 3 points. So one more time, from the nose and out. And let's put our fingers under our cheekbones and go out now in front of the ears. There's like a little depression near the top of the ear. And okay, so now we're going to concentrate on the cheekbones. Right here, this is called Welcome Fragrance. I love that name because that's exactly where fragrance enters your nose. This is good for sinus, for headache, and also for allergies. So you're pointing a little bit toward the nose and along this smile line. You can go in circles and the other way. And then when I'm going to use my thumbs now to go underneath the cheekbones. There's a point that's real powerful right underneath the pupil of the eye, the black part, right? So right under there, you can kind of feel where it's going to go. But again, we don't have to know where it is, because if we just start at the nose and go all the way out underneath the cheekbone, we don't have to know where that point is because we're going to hit it, right? And it feels good all the way out. We're going to do that 3 times. That point is really excellent for sinus pain, mouth pain, jaw pain, TMJ, you know, any kind of challenges with the temporomandibular joint here, clicking, popping, grinding teeth, that kind of thing. And then right above the mouth, we're going to go out 3 times. And now let's go to the ear. Now the ear is a whole thing in itself. It's a whole body. It's a picture. It's expressed as, represented as a picture of a baby that's upside down. So the baby's head is here on the lobe, and this inner cartilage that you see here, that's the spinal cord points. So right now we're just going to massage the lobe and go straight up from where an earring would be. There's a little triangle of cartilage there, and pinch that. That's a headache point. And then if you just continue up that cartilage all the way to the top, you're doing shoulder points, thoracic points, lumbar points, and then we go to the cartilage on the outside of the ear. All sorts of other points there. Let's do the other side. The lobe. Of course, you can do these together, but I'm turning my head so you can see. Massaging the lobe. So massaging the lobe is really good for toothache, anything in the front of the face. And then we're going to go up the lobe to the little triangle of cartilage. Pinch it. Helps to prevent headaches. Excuse me. And then we're going to just pinch that cartilage all the way up. That's the spinal cord points in reflexology. Start at the triangle and go up. Ears are funny things, you know, until I trained in reflexology, I didn't realize that all ears look like this. Is very complicated shape, but everybody has the same shape. And then the outside of the cartilage. Now the outside cartilage is not as tough. Okay, now there's one more thing I want you to do on the ears. There's a point right near the top of the ear. You can slide your index finger into it, and it just basically fits in there. There's a little depression, and you push against your head. This is called Shen Men. It's the gate of heaven. So it's a relaxation point. Let's just take 30 seconds and just sit. Just sit and breathe. You might feel your ear heat up when that's what happens to me. It gets hot. So when you're feeling anxious, I don't know about on Zoom, sitting there massaging your ears like this. Nah, 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 nah. All right, so that's the ears. Okay, now we're going to go to the neck and the shoulders. And already I'm feeling so much more relaxed just from doing my face. So if it's something like a 5-minute break in the middle of the day, you can do a little face massage. You can do it when you get up in the morning. I just kind of mix it up. You know, sometimes I'll do the face, sometimes I'll do the neck and shoulders, sometimes I'll do my arms or whatever. Okay, so for neck and shoulder, oh, you know what? I forgot to show you one point. This is a, what is it called? TW. It's the oh my gosh. It's the triple heater, triple
warmer.
It doesn't warmer. Thank you. Triple warmer. Thank you very much. So there's a depression right behind the earlobe that's kind of behind the jaw. And this is very good for anything in the throat region. So sore throat and also tension in the neck and shoulders, earache. And you can also massage behind the ears. I forgot about that. Right along the bone there. The triple warmer meridian wraps around the ear, and so it generates, it governs temperature in the body and has a lot to do with hearing, sore throats and tension and so on. Okay, so now we're going to go to the back of the head. You're going to use your thumbs under the skull. The lower edge of the skull has 5 or so points that are good for neck ache, neck tension, shoulder tension. We're just going to start in the middle and inch along underneath the skull without worrying about where the points are. Now, if you hit a point that feels really tender, you can stay there when you have time to do that. Like I started in the middle, not a big deal. And then I went out about, 2 millimeters, and wow, that point is really tender. So that is inviting you to spend more time there. And if you have hit a point that is going to be helpful and you massage it for a while and you notice that the tenderness drops down, is not as hurtful, then you're really on a good point. So we're going to do a third time of starting in the middle. Some people like to put their head back and kind of get under there. I don't like to. I like to put my head forward. So you can do what feels good to you. Oh, these points are so tender. I think it has a lot to do with being on the screen a lot. Bending forward over the keyboard. All right. Now, there's some other points in the neck that are really useful for neck tension. If you feel right under the lower edge of the skull, there are some ropey muscles. You can actually grip these ropes of muscles on either side of the center of the neck. And we're just going to do one at a time. So curling your fingers around this ropey muscle. There's urinary bladder 10 is in there. That's a really good one for neck tension. When you can't turn your head very far, when you kind of get stuck, this is really good to massage. Let's do the other side. Ropey muscles are, I'd say, about a ½ inch below the lower edge of the skull. And actually, you know, whatever works for you, if you use your pincher fingers like this, sometimes that works better for me. And then there's a point at the top of the scapula, the shoulder blades, that can often be really sore. So we're going to do 2 points related to the shoulders. One of them is called shoulder well, and I mentioned it in the announcement. It's a powerful point for communication between the head and the body. So if you tend to be too much in your head and you're like forgetting about your body and being clumsy and bumping into things, or if you're too much in your body and not thinking straight, this is a really good point. So it's about 1/3 of the way from the bottom of the neck out to the shoulder when you drop your arm. And this is where my shoulder seam is on my shirt. So about 1/3 of the way. And again, you don't need to know exactly where it is because you can just make a fist and go from the neck all the way down to the top of the shoulder, the top of the arm. Or you can find a place that's tender and you can massage it. There's nothing wrong with doing that, even if it's not a point, right? There are ashi points, which are points of great tenderness that are not actually on meridians at all, but they're still massageable. And then if I go a little further, so what I like to do is put my other hand under my elbow and push a little bit to get my arm further back on my back. And there is a point for me that is so tender. It's right on the shoulder blade. So you can slap it. All we're doing is we're waking up the meridians and hopefully getting rid of blocks in the energy. And let's do the other side. So make a fist. We're going to go from, in fact, I like to hold on to my elbow there anyway, even just on top of the shoulder. We're going to go from the bottom of the neck to the top of the arm. You can open up your fingers if that's better. Slapping. And then if I push a little bit more and get back there, there is that, oh my gosh, it's the same point on the other side. Woo. And if you find a point like that, you could spend 5 minutes on it. And then you might see that that point's tenderness would diminish because you're massaging out whatever toxicity is underneath the tissue there. In reflexology, the theory about reflexology is a little different from the one for acupuncture. For acupressure, for reflexology, there is a chemical that is underneath the skin in the tissue at that point. And then when you massage it, that chemical actually leaves that area and goes into the bloodstream. And that's why we want to always have water so that we can drink at least afterwards. If you want to go get some water right now, please feel free. Okay, so that's the shoulders. I'm going to put my Glasses back on. Let's see, what am I going to do now? Okay, on the
What's the name of the chemical? Do you know?
it's called, I don't remember. I can look it up for you.
Okay.
I can look it up for you.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's do the chest and arms. So the lung meridian starts right here on the chest. It's kind of at the point where if you were a farmer and you put your thumbs underneath your overalls, that's where lung 1 is. And lung 1 not only governs the lung, and the other thing you can do is cross your arms, and that's where the lung 1 points are. So it governs the respiration, breathing, a lot of water balance, because there's a lot of water in the air that we breathe in, and especially out. You can feel the water. And as a matter of fact, I don't know about you, but when I wear a mask for a long time, there is so much water inside that mask, and that's because we're exhaling water. But also the lung meridian governs emotions, and the lungs are said to be the home of sadness and grief. So interestingly, when we're sad, we go like this, right? Oh my gosh, the heart and the lungs are right there. So you can put your arm out, and we're going to tap underneath the clavicle, the collarbone. So we don't have to worry about exactly where that point is. Although, if you feel around, there are going to be points which, it's a little bit tender. Wow. I just found it, right? So you can find points to spend time on, or you can just generally do that whole area. Let's do the other side. Right under the clavicle. And there are 2 points here under the clavicle and beside the breastbone. The breastbone is the sternum, right? So right in here, it's called Elegant Mansion. I'm not sure why. It's a cool name. But those points can often be really good for asthma, for colds, for chest congestion, et cetera, et cetera. So we get that when we go all the way across the chest. And then let's spend some time on the sternum. The thymus is a really important organ up here for the immune system. And then about 3 fingers from the bottom of the sternum, there's a really important point, CV17, which is good for energy. So we go up and down the sternum. All right, now let's go up and down the arms. On the arms, there is a really fantastic immune point called Crooked Pond. And the way you find it is when you bend your arm at the elbow, where the crease ends, that's where the point is. So if I look, there's no crease over here. There's the point right there. So we bend our arm like this, use your thumb, and you dig into that point right where the ending is of that crease. And you can kind of bring your arm in and out to facilitate digging in better. I've got too much of a nail there, so I'm going to use a different finger. We can also rotate. And there are other points here. There's also a P6 in here, pericardium. So I like to just massage the entire inside of the elbow. Okay, let's do the other side. Crooked Pond. Good immune point. Bend your arm, find the end of the crease, dig your thumb in, and open and close the arm to allow access to that point. And then just massage the whole crease. All right. And then we have a point. We have 2 points called the inner and outer gates near the wrist. And the way to find these is you take your pinky of your other hand and place it along the wrist crease. I don't know if I can bend that way. So the wrist crease is here. I'm putting my pinky on it. I lay my hand down, pick up the pointer finger and the middle finger and bend them so that they push into the arm. That's inner gate. So let's try that again. Put your pinky on the wrist crease. Lay your fingers down. Pick up the pointer and the middle fingers and put them right in the center of your wrist. That's inner gate. It's on the inside of the arm. And then put your thumb right below those fingers. That's outer gate. And we're just going to massage while I tell you what these are for. Inner gate is for nausea. So it's a really good one for motion sickness. You're on a boat, on an airplane, whatever, even in a car. And I think you might remember those wristbands that have a little kind of a nodule there and they press into that point. So that's inner gate. Though this is also good for women's challenges with their sexual reproductive organs. So for cramps, for menopause, this is a really good point. You can remember it because it's for nausea, which comes with a lot of, cramps and menopause kind of stuff. And then outer gate is really for wrist problems, but I like to do the 2 of them together. And I love that method for finding them. I don't know, I think it's really cool. Okay, inner and outer gate. And that's one of the reasons why we energize the hands by doing the wrists, because there are several points in there. Okay, let's do the other hand. Okay, let's put our hand out, lay our pinky on the wrist crease, lay the fingers down, pick up the second and third finger, put them straight in the middle of the arm and the thumb underneath, and massage. Inner and outer gate. And now we come to one of the biggest master points of the body, which is large intestine 4. It's called Hoku in Japanese. It's right between the pointer finger and the thumb. So the way that you find it is you put your fingers together and you'll see that there's a little muscle that humps up right there between those 2 fingers, right there. So I'm going to put my thumb on that muscle and then part the fingers. And the location where I am is right between the bone of the second finger and the bone of the thumb. And I'm going to push in between those bones. This is called meeting of the valleys because of that valley shape. And I slightly angle toward the second finger, the pointer finger. So you're not supposed to be in the web. The web is kind of an empty, area. You need to be on the musculature. And there's actually a little kind of a, what are those called? BB, like a BB shaped structure underneath there. If you dig in enough, you can feel it, and it can even give you a little electric shock. I used to walk around in my classroom. I taught at a school for girls, high school girls. And so many of them were mothers or pregnant. And I would show them this point because it's really good for pain, including labor pain, and also for cramps. And I would just walk around and show everybody this point, and they would all, electric shock, help. Okay, let's do the other hand. Close your fingers, close your thumb and your second finger. See the little muscle that pops up there, the mound. Put your other thumb on it. Part your fingers. Now you got your thumb in the valley. And we push up in between those two bones and toward the pointer finger. This is for headaches. This is the master point for the head. For any kind of headache, sinus, tooth pain, cramps, depression. This is a really big point for depression. So when I'm sitting and feeling sorry for myself, I might just grab one of my hands and massage. And even aside from the physical results, it feels good to have something to do. That's for me a really big part of this is, okay, this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to do this to help myself. And the act of helping myself actually propels me as well as the physical benefits. So now there's one other really powerful point, stomach 36. It's right below the kneecap. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, I don't know if my Ethernet cable is going to reach. Okay, I'm going to talk you through it. It raises the energy in the body. So what you're going to do is you're going to go right below, let's say this is the kneecap. You're going to go right below the kneecap with your fist and move to the outside of the thigh bone. And there's a point there that's tender. And you can find it and just rub it up and down.
Is she frozen for everybody or just
Yeah.
me?
For me.
He's back.
We're frozen for about 10
We
seconds.
lost you right after, go right below the kneecap.
Okay, all right. So I'll say it again. So make a fist, put your fist on the kneecap, then move your fist down below the kneecap and move out a couple fingers width away from the center of the leg. There is a point that's very tender on most people. Can you find it? I'm going to wait till you find it. It's not quite to the seam of the pants edge of the leg. It's just inside that. And right outside the thigh bone. Anyway, if there's a couple of these you can't find, it's not a big deal. And you can also, by the way, I have a lot of knee problems because I have torn meniscus on both knees. And just rubbing on either side of the knee, up and down. It's kind of like that same thing with the ear, how there are 3 points here and you rub up and down. The knee has many points on either side, the inside and the outside, and you can just rub up and down and energize those points. I do that before I take a walk. I have a problem with my knees buckling because of this meniscus problem. And I have fewer problems when I energize my knees. Okay, let's see. What happened to my, all right. Okay, and then for insomnia, I'm just going to mention that we can go back to these points up here. And there are 2 points on your feet, one on the underside of the outer ankle bone and one on the underside of the inner ankle bone. So if you just massage with your other foot, like right now I'm in socks, so I can massage with my other foot. I can also use a TheraBand. I forgot to bring it with me, but I think I showed it in another session where maybe I'll go get it in just a minute. And so you can reach points on your back that are hard to reach or on your feet. Let me just go get it while I'm talking about it. So this is a TheraBand, and there are various ones on the market. I don't remember the actual name of this one. I can look it up if you're interested, but it has all these different points. So like, for example, I can put this behind me and massage that point that I have so much trouble with. That's so painful for me. And I think, again, it's because I'm hunched over a computer so much of the day tutoring. I can put this behind my back. I can put it down to my feet and stimulate various points. So I bought that on Amazon. It was about $30. But for me, it's really worth it because it's so helpful. Okay, so let's do a finishing kind of a meditation. We're going to go back to the fingers, and I'm going to talk you through which of the, first of all, you know what? Let's just take questions. Do you have any questions? I know I've kind
Thank you. I'm just very glad you're here, Jean.
of bombarded you with a lot of information. Okay, so I'm going to take you through which of the channels is associated with each of the fingers, and we're going to meditate on those channels in our own bodies. Not the channel, but the organ itself and the function, the use of that. So you can close your eyes if you like. You can look off. And, you know, honestly, it's really good for you not to be looking at a screen all the time. So find something pretty to look at out of a window or close your eyes. So we're going to start with the thumb. The thumb is the starting point of, hang on a minute. It's actually the ending point of the lung channel. The starting point is up on the chest. So the first thing I want you to do is put a hand up to the chest and just massage a little bit, very gently. This is the beginning of the lung channel. And then the thumb is the ending of the lung channel. So it goes from the chest, down the arm, and to the thumb. So I'd like us to think about our lungs, what they do for us. Take a deep breath, let it out. Don't try to control your breathing very much. Just make sure you're taking enough air. And think about what's happening. The air is going in through your nose, down your throat, into your trachea, and down into your lungs, filling up the lungs, and your diaphragm is working with your lungs to move down inside your body to make more room for all that air. Such a miraculous network of parts of your body that work to bring in that air, and then the little grape-like structures in your lungs allow the oxygen to leave and go into the bloodstream and get hitched onto their rides in the bloodstream, ride all around the body and provide oxygen to all the cells. So take 3 more breaths. And let's move on to the second finger. The pointer finger is the start of the large intestine meridian. We already saw this large intestine 4-point right here. And the large intestine is responsible for removing waste from the body and also reclaiming water so that we don't lose too much of it. So I want you to just meditate upon that function, that we eat and drink every day, and this large intestine just takes care of us, gets rid of garbage, but keeps the water that we need. What a miracle. And by the way, if any of these parts that we're talking about are having difficulty in your body, then just think about them lovingly for what they are doing and the possibility of healing whatever's going on. So moving along to the third finger. The third finger is the end of the pericardium meridian. Pericardium means the wrapping around the heart. So it protects the heart. And I'd like you to put your hands over your heart and think about protecting your heart. So we've talked in church about how there's so much going on that is hurting our hearts. And we have to protect ourselves. But if we protect ourselves too much, then we don't let in the love that is there. So it's a delicate balance. And I'm just going to be silent for about 30 seconds so you can think about, how do I protect my heart? How do I balance that? All right, moving along. And by the way, that meridian does start right about here on the lower chest and goes down to the third finger. So the next meridian that's associated with the ring finger is the triple warmer, the triple heater. It governs temperature. And I don't know about you, but I'm really glad that I have a body that regulates my temperature in these cold nights because they've been so cold. But think about what a miracle that is. So close your eyes and think about temperature regulation in your body. We're warm-blooded, and that means that even when it's cold, our body really works to keep us warm. That's why lizards need a light over them, right? Because they're cold-blooded and they can't regulate temperature like we can. So the triple warmer also wraps around the ear. And so it's associated with hearing as well. There's a point here in front of the ear, and there are points all the way around the back of the ear and underneath in the little indentation behind the earlobes. And these are all really important points. So I'd like you to just think about temperature regulation and maybe the association with being hot-headed, because there are some points that you can work on for hot-headedness on this meridian. Are we slow to anger? Are we too quick to anger? What do we do with our anger? And then the last finger is the pinky. The pinky is associated with two different meridians. First, the heart meridian. The heart meridian starts right under the arm, wraps around, and goes down to the pinky. And so we have actually two meridians that deal with the heart, right? We've got the pericardium that protects the heart, and we've got the heart itself. So the heart meridian is responsible for regulating things like the heartbeat. And so it can be used for when there are palpitations, when a person is really nervous and their heart is beating too wildly. So again, we can think about the fact that our heart beats some impossible number of times a day, and it just keeps doing it. Gary has a pacemaker, so thank goodness for modern medicine, because that regulates his heartbeat sometimes when it misses. But we have that organ that just keeps beating and keeps beating and keeps beating. I'm gonna finish up with a little qigong. I'd like you to put your hands together around your waist, and we're going to lift them up. We're massaging the energy outside the body. This is called polishing the pearl in qigong. I love that name, polishing the pearl. You're holding a pearl of energy in your hands and lifting up to the heart level and down. There's an energy center called the dantian below the navel. This is very calming. I use this at bedtime. I tend to work right up until I have to go to sleep, and then I'm all jangled and can't relax. So actually, let's sync our breathing. Let's breathe in and out. In and out. One more time. In and out. So thank you for being with me today. Don't forget to drink.
I say Tuesdays at 2 forever.
Thank you, Jean.
You're welcome.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Yeah,
lot, Jean.
feels good.
And you know why you drink, right? Because massage can dump toxins from the muscles into the bloodstream, and you want to flush those out. So that's why we're drinking.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I better go drink.
You better wake
Water,
up first.
water, Louise.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much,
Bye-bye.
Jean.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jean.